The heartbreaking story of Kevin Omwenga, mostly known as Richie Rich, a 28-year-old Kenyan car dealer who, by joining money laundering, venturing into the shadowy world of the wash trade, led to his untimely death. On the morning of August 21, 2020, Kevin Omwenga, this man, also known as Richie Rich, rose like royalty in his luxurious 7th-floor apartment, Savannah Suites, Kilimani. While many Kenyans grappled with financial challenges brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic, Kevin's day began with plans for a celebration as he extended party invitations to his circle of friends, unaware that danger lurked in the form of one of his guests, Robert Bodo. The host remained oblivious as he discreetly retrieved a Seska pistol from the boss's office, a weapon that before the sunset ended his life. But how did this deadly turn of events come to be? Here's the story. Kevin entered the world on February 28, 1991 in the quaint village of Soko, nestled in Kisii County. He was the youngest son of Omwenga Sr., whose life was tragically cut short just 2 years later. This loss left Kevin, along with his 2 older brothers, in the devoted care of their resilient mother. She faced countless struggles as she raised Kevin alongside his brothers, Wycliffe and Vincent Omwenga. Yet, as the saying goes, every child comes with their own blessing, and God provided a way. Moved by compassion, their uncle Omwenga Sr.'s brother stepped in, taking it upon himself to guide and support the boys as they grew. Despite being from a widowed family, young Kevin was fortunate to have most of his basic needs met, thanks to the unwavering support of his uncle. He began his educational journey at the local primary school and later advanced to Kisumu Boys, where his academic performance stood out admirably. However, due to financial constraints, Kevin was unable to continue his education, which left him with no choice but to find other ways to make a living. The challenge was that he was still in Kisii County, a place where, aside from banana farming, as you all know, opportunities were few and far between. Determined to turn his life around, Kevin persuaded his uncle to let him stay in Nairobi as he sought to make his way in the bustling city. To his relief, his uncle agreed, and so, with nothing but a fierce determination in his heart, Kevin arrived in the city of stones, ready to conquer whatever came his way. With a fierce determination to succeed and transform his family's future, Kevin made his way to Nairobi in April 2013. A true country boy at heart, he stayed with his uncle's family as he began navigating the unknowns of city life. Being new to the capital, he found himself uncertain about his next step, unsure of how to begin his journey. However, there are 2 things Kevin was certain he will never do, no matter the circumstances. One, he refused to follow in his brother's Vincent Omwenga's footsteps, working as a casual laborer in the various godowns scattered across industrial area. He was determined never to follow in the footsteps of his brother, Wycliffe Omwenga, that's number 2, who worked as a bus tout for Transline Bus Company. To Kevin, these were not the paths he envisioned for himself in the future, especially considering that Kevin had always been a passionate car enthusiast. As a child, he would often stand by the highway, mesmerized by the different makes and models of cars that passed by. He imagined himself behind the wheel of a powerful car, like something Rick Ross will drive. Neither of those 2 jobs, though, seemed to offer the lifestyle or satisfaction he dreamed of. Driven by his love for cars, he chose to turn his passion into a lucrative pursuit by becoming a car salesman. With nothing but his charm and smooth words, Kevin approached a car dealership owner and managed to persuade him of his exceptional sales abilities. And just like that, he landed a job at the rapidly expanding Insignia Motors on Ngong Road. With no connections or clientele to rely on, he recognized that his greatest tool was social media, which was beginning to take off in 2019. So he decided to harness its full potential. He set up a Facebook page for the company and proudly shared his first car sale in July 2013, showcasing himself as a confident intern. The car he was selling was a sleek Mini Cooper, and he made sure to dress the part, looking every bit the professional businessman. With unwavering faith in the bigger picture, he poured his heart and soul into his journey, letting time work its magic. Each day began with him rising, heading to the yard, and snapping photos. Whether it was motorcycles or cars, anything that caught his eye found its way onto his feed as he cast his wide net, hoping to reel in a catch. But as with every action, as you all know, there was a ripple effect. His relentless posting eventually grabbed the attention of a buyer who made Kevin's first sale possible, earning him his first commission. That money, it gave him the freedom to rent his own place, finally escaping the watchful gaze of his uncle. It wasn't just his living situation that changed. His wardrobe transformed too. Gone was the country boy from Kisii. In his place stood a young hippie, rocking the same trendy brands that Migos had been sporting back in 2014. On top of that, he discovered that tea and soda weren't the only beverages in the world, despite what his SDA mom had taught him. So with any spare cash he earned, he made sure to indulge, often treating himself to drinks that will leave a mark on his liver. Money was flowing so freely that it couldn't even fit in his wallet, and he made sure everyone within sight knew it. As he put it himself, he was now young and rich, so making more cash was never a concern. Just as quickly as the money came, it slipped through his fingers. But like a wise man, he never lost sight of the job that funded his new life. He redoubled his efforts in sales, now pushing luxury cars with a drive to match his ambition. As Kevin scrolled through the online world in search of potential customers, he stumbled upon Rukia Jamal, a stunning Belgian-Ugandan woman who captured his heart. Despite the miles between them, she had that look of wealth, which needless to say was exactly his type. Without a moment pause, he confidently made his move, boasting about his ownership of the car dealership. The young woman found his ambition inspiring and captivated by his charm. She soon fell for him, traveling to Kenya multiple times just to be by his side. To further win her over, he chauffeured her in his boss's luxury car, leaving an even greater impression on her. Rukia Juma remained oblivious to the fact that everything Kevin did was just a well-crafted act. His true intentions lay in her deep pockets, often turning to her for financial help whenever his business hit a rough patch. After all, selling cars every day isn't a guarantee. Unless you are someone who seems to have a magic touch. A little while later, she made an attempt to persuade him to relocate with her to Germany. But being the true African guy that he was, Kevin turned down the European offer. Just like South Soul and many of us, his heart yearned to live and breathe in Africa, embracing it as his home until the end. Despite their efforts to maintain a long-distance relationship, Rukia soon realized it wasn't working. Kevin thrived on a lifestyle filled with parties and social gatherings, while she sought the stability of a committed partner. In the end, their contrasting priorities made it clear they were like opposing magnets that couldn't sustain their pull towards each other. Tragically, their connection dissolved entirely as Kevin chose a path focused on selling cars. However, his journey took a darker turn when he attempted to swindle a customer, leading to a fallout with his employer, Insignia Motors, and making a bitter chapter in his life. Yet with his gift of gap and top-tier salesmanship, Kevin managed to charm his way into Lystra Motors in Lavington. There he resumed his craft, skillfully dealing in a luxury car brands and leaving his persuasive mark on the industry. This indulgence steered Kevin into a world he was better off avoiding. Even though 90% of his clientele came from the same affluent circle, while cruising in luxury cars and frequenting elite destinations, he crossed paths with a notorious crew, the Gang Gold Scammers. Enticed by what seemed like an irresistible offer, Kevin left his sales job at the Lavington dealership without looking back. The next time he emerged in public, he was almost unrecognizable, draped in sharp suits and exuding the aura of a millionaire. It was a far cry from the man who once relied on borrowed cash to get by. Kevin traded his modest one-bedroom home for the opulent Galana Suites apartments, where rent so as to cash Kenyan shilling 150,000 per month. His astonishing rise was nothing short of meteoric, a transformation he attributed to divine intervention, calling it nothing less than God's work. Rumors soon swirled that Kevin had joined the ranks of gold scammers, working under his enigmatic new boss, Chris Oburi. For those in the know, Chris Obure is a name whispered with caution, a figure of power and influence, not someone you will dare to cross, a true modern-day don and a proud licensed gun owner. He stands as the CEO of Global Jet, a prestigious air charter company. His rides are as distinctive as his persona, each bearing his initials and company name, CH Jet, on their plates. Behind him, a fleet of elite vehicles trail like loyal guardians, embodying luxury and authority. Despite being entangled in numerous legal battles involving gun-related controversies and gold fraud, he remains untouchable, a figure you will think twice about crossing, as attested by a former business associate. Despite everything, Kevin threw himself wholeheartedly into serving his new boss, and the rewards were nothing short of extraordinary. His first gift, a sleek Range Rover, a ride that many can only dream of steering. Kevin handed the Range Rover over to his brother, Wycliffe, so he could make a grand entrance at an event in Kisii. After all, the man had always aspired to step into the world of politics. However, weeks later, Kevin totaled the Range Rover. After one too many drinks, unfazed, he strolled into a showroom in Mombasa, where ruthless focus was employed, and casually bought himself a Porsche Panamera. From that day on, he earned the nickname Richie Rich. This move was nothing short of mind-blowing, but his new circle of friends wasted no time showering him with praise online.
Mungu mwache itwe Mungu. Haya boss, mimi nimekubali. Mimi nimekubali. Lakini Mungu mwache itwe Mungu aise.
Sharing videos to celebrate, they credited his success to the grind, all while he cruised along blasting more money, more problems on the car stereo. Money was no longer a concern. Figuring out how to spend it became the real challenge. Kevin surrounded himself with celebrities, and his drink of choice was strictly Hennessy. He partied at upscale spots like Big Club, rubbing shoulders with hottest stars, including the stunning songstress Tanasha Donna. For his birthday celebration, Kevin dubbed it a Ferrari birthday, and even flew in a Tanzanian hostess to MC the event, which he co-hosted with his new best friend, Jamal Hoted. The party had one strict rule: only Bel Air and Hennessy were allowed on the menu. When the waiter forgot to bring water for hand washing before the meal, they improvised by cleansing their hands with the alcohol instead. It was evident he was rushing eagerly. Drawn in by the allure of this fresh chapter in life, he rushed ahead without any hesitation, as Daraza puts it, bila breki, letting his ambition drive into sealing a lucrative deal, all without informing his boss, Chris Obure. This deal, however, had its roots in his new close friend and neighbor at Galana Suites, Jamal. This was a clear violation of business decorum and a blatant disrespect, as the Don is always meant to be in the know. As a result, he had no choice but to face the consequences. His unchecked ambitions had ultimately led to his downfall. On August 21st, 2020, as Robert Bodo get ready to throw a party at his place, having secured a Dubai ticket for March 23rd, he was all set to close a massive 100 million deal alongside his best friend, Jamal. As he stepped into his boss's office, speaking into a walkie-talkie, he casually reached for his gun. As the evening wore on, he made his way to Kevin's apartment, resembling Jamal, a man of Arab descent, as captured by the CCTV footage. Soon after, Kevin stepped out, but Obodo was right behind him, staying on his tail as Kevin returned, eager to meet up with his stunning girlfriend. Then the sound of a gunshot echoed through the night, and Kevin collapsed, struggling to survive. Robert insisted that it was a suicide, but his brother Wycliffe, who was there, refuted the claim. They did everything they could to save him, but when Kevin arrived at the hospital without Bodo, who had gone allegedly to dispose of the gun, he was declared dead. And just like that, a 28-year-old chapter came to a tragic close. Robert Obodo and Chris Obure were eventually detained on charges of murder, though they were later released on bond. Not long after, we learned that the key witness to the crime, Omwenga's own brother, tragically lost his life. A heartbreaking conclusion to the Omwenga's family. What a crazy story, right? Imagine rising to such a level, becoming so rich, someone gifting you a Range Rover, and then you go behind his back and do deals. And then it ultimately leads to your death. You see, guys, I'm not saying go into, this kind of businesses, but suppose you go into this kind of businesses, don't be greedy. Let your boss always know, share, it's okay, the 5 and 10 million, you will get is better than the 50 million you will get without your boss knowing and having a target on your back, right? So anyway, this is all allegedly, maybe there is something nimeruka, maybe there is something that's correct. But guys, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you love these kind of stories and politics and football and everything that is trending around East Africa. This is where we discuss. So guys, bana, hii channel imekaa sana. It doesn't deserve this. You all remember I opened a TikTok channel, Juzi, and now it is almost 90K. Why do I have 20 something on YouTube? Na nyinyi ndio watu wakubwa, unajua watoto ndio wako huko TikTok. Hapa kuna watu wakubwa. I believe in you guys. So piga hapo, tap, subscribe. Comment. It's free. I don't charge. YouTube don't charge. Subscribe bana, mtu wangu. Ama niaje? Yes. Make me happy. I make you happy. I bring more stories, bring more politics in this YouTube channel. For those of you that don't know, we discuss politics, football, and every trending story, specifically around East Africa. But sometimes we discuss even the rest of the Africa, whatever that happens, if it is so juicy and, it is worth the time. So anyway, guys, may God bless you until we see each other again. Take care.